Let's take a look at COSTCO, ticker COST. It's got earnings today, and it's one of the best looking charts in the whole of the stock market at the minute, other than Nvidia. So it's got a PE of about 12 really, and for a retailer that's quite steep, but for the S&P it's not. And this particular company just generates a huge ton of profit. So it's got a well-deserved chart really, and pre-market we can see it's looking to gap up into all-time highs. Now if we just look at its chart and see if we can use the fibs, we can pretty much see that it has exceeded a lot of its fib targets. So on a weekly basis here, the 127 actually did cap price for a couple of weeks, and then it shot through, and then this level here, the 161, did actually stop price for a week. There was a small pullback, and then it opened up with a gap, and it's just been gapping up since then into new highs every week, pretty much. Yeah, every week, new highs. So we've exhausted the fibs pretty much, apart from this one here. So the 1000 is going to be a magnet, as is going to be the 800 and 900, and then the 1000. But because the 2.68 is at 950, price will want to gravitate towards that now we've taken these out. So as far as we're concerned, these levels no longer exist in terms of the algos chasing up price and sort of meeting targets. They're now, if there's still volume coming in, people are still buying the common stock, the algos will try and figure out a path up to this eventually. Doesn't mean they'll do it in the next month or two. I mean, it could take a year or two. So when looking for these bigger swings on something that's got a chart like this, I always look out, if I'm going to enter a swing, always look out for a longer term swing that could be a year or two. And if it gets there sooner, take profit sooner, that's great. So just wanted to see really if there are likely to be any speed bumps. Now that we've got over the 1618, where are the potential speed bumps between here and if it ever gets to the 950? So marks out a couple of pivot points of interest here. 2017 was a bit of a scare in the stock market, and then obviously here there's a bit of a scare as well, so we're going to ignore that. Going to ignore this, the flu dump there. So looking at those levels there, and we can get out a GAN fan, and it's actually this pivot here and this speed bump here that was quite interesting, because you can see that here it's caused a resistance in several occasions here, until we flipped it, and then really that was the acceleration point there. Once it was able to flip that, accelerator. So every time it hits this level, it just accelerates, and here a resistance. But actually the level of interest, now that really does give us an indication that price could accelerate up into well over 1,000 or something like that. This speed bump here was really the one I wanted to pay attention to here, this one. And the reason for that is this pivot, here was the only one that I could find, that they'll probably use others, but it's the only one I could find that caught the price on the way down here. So that's really relevant. So going to delete this internal one actually. So we're getting a bit too many lines going on the chart. It's this one that's really of relevance, because this actually caps price on the way up here on these big pivot swings. And so we could be doing the same thing here, right, which is push above this line, look like we're about to accelerate up, and could stall. Not saying it's going to happen because the ultimate swing really is here, but we could see a retracement. There could be some event that happens, maybe on sales, maybe on interest rates, maybe on whatever. So we could see it pull back in, and then a bit of a speed, you know, kind of like a short-term correction before we push up. It may not happen. So there's one other thing I want to look at before we start getting kind of concerned that we might be hitting a pullback zone, and that is the options flow does actually have some resistance at 780, which is basically roughly where price is. And then if we clone this, there is actually there is a few calls that push it looking for 800, and those are looking for 800, not this week, but actually looking for it over the next couple of weeks. So we could see a situation where there's a bit of a pullback here and then a push up going out into for the rest of the month. One other thing I want to look at is to put the chart on log, because now we're into basically price discovery. It's like, well, where are the potential areas where price could really hit road bumps? So if we look and we go all the way back to the origin point of this move and get our what we're looking for is pitchfork, and this swing here, this first swing, this big push up and then a big pullback here. We can see really that this median line here has capped price before, and really, I mean, it kind of just, you know, price might start accelerating towards the 4,000 over time. Could be there by, who knows, 2030. But what actually is of interest is some of these internal pitchfork lines here have actually capped price, and we've had price dancing in between here, and then also some of these levels have been you know, here. Look at that. Price really sold down aggressively and bounced off one of these internal pitchfork lines. So, and again here, right? So we've got some confluence here, and here resistance, here tapped this line and pushed away. So that gives a little bit of confidence really that we could be seeing the makings of acceleration. So this blue line, this blue area here, shading area, kind of does give some level of confidence that as long as price is able to stay above the these fib levels here on a non-log basis, then we could accelerate up towards the 1,000 area. So that's definitely of interest, and it kind of gives me confidence that yeah, price looks, the chart looks really bullish. But we could sort of see a bit of a pullback, and then over the next few years, just price continue to just accelerate. And with a chart that looks like this, who's to say that, you know, it won't do it? It's printing new all-time highs every month, every week, every month. So really looking forward to seeing what the earnings are like, whether we get a pullback, but net bullish on cost still.